lungs while you're breathing. And when this happens, usually for a person, it would be blocked or taken out by mucus. However, for a person with a dust allergy, the mucus does not have enough time to get rid of the dust before your immune system catches hold of it and attacks it. It's due to this attacking that the dust becomes harmful to you because now your lungs are violently contracting and squeezing in order to get rid of the dust that would have gone out by itself anyway. Right. So back to the topic. So really allergies are essentially a broad category of hypersensitive immune disorders where the immune system overreacts. And to be fair, these to be clear, high allergies and autoimmune disorders are two very different disorders. Sometimes people mix them up because both of them are basically when your um, immune system overreacts and attacks something that is not supposed to attack. However, allergies attack foreign bodies that are harmless, but autoimmune disorders attack your own body cells that are harmless. So that's a major difference you must get out. Common allergies include pollen, dust, milk, eggs, seafood, trees and nuts, peanuts, wheat, soybeans, and interestingly, sesame, which is which includes a lot of very important stuff for your diet. So, why do allergies happen? Well, why do you guys think allergies happen? Like, why on earth would our body overreact at such an amazing, uh, at such a harmless and normal thing?
Because each individual is different, and it is said that everyone will have some kind or the other kind of allergies, but it so happens that it will come to light in your lifetime or it may not come, but everyone has one allergy or two allergies, it seems. And once you are born with allergy.
Body immunity.
Anyone else?
It depends on the body immunity, whether it's medicine or food, milk, whatever you said, whether it's how it reflects, it affects your body, how the body takes it.
Yes. All right, so good points. Really, there are two main reasons. We don't really know exactly why allergies or the mechanisms for it to occur in a body. However, we do notice some things. First of all, it can either start from your birth or happen halfway through your life, right? And second of all, it often happens to things that you've never seen before. So there are two main theories. The first one is that so why on earth would you get it rather suddenly in life rather than at birth? Because at birth allergies are quite uncommon, right? Well, essentially your body whenever you enter a new area into a new environment, you're exposed to new things that you haven't experienced before. For example, let's say you lived in a community that absolutely despised peanuts, like they banned peanuts everywhere. And then you suddenly enter a society that loves peanuts. Well, suddenly your immune system that has never seen a peanut in its life will suddenly begin to be overwhelmed by the amount of peanuts in your system. And they'll think this is clearly an infection. Something that has never been there before is suddenly overflowing us. It's got to be an infection. So it attacks it, thinking that it's an infection because the body doesn't have any uh, experience towards the allergen. So it thinks, oh, this is a foreign body. Foreign body means I've got to attack. This is when your innate immune system attacks an allergen. However, there's another theory on why your adaptive immune system attacks an allergen. So, does anyone here know what the thymus is? The thymus, the organ that's located about here? Anyone?
I think it's the air passage that leads from nose to lungs.
Not really. The thymus is an organ that essentially controls your adaptive immune system, right? It is closely linked with the thyroid, which is something you guys have probably heard about more like in your life, right? The thymus essentially is the university for your adaptive immune system, for your T cells and B cells. Just to recap, T cells are your all-purpose cells that are for a specific antigen. When you get a virus or a bacteria, your dendritic cells first go to the T cell, activate the T cell. Then the T cell will become two types: helper T cell and a killer T cell. Helper T cells will help with the battlefield. Killer T cells will kill, the invaders themselves. And the helper T cell will also activate the B cell, or also known as plasma cell, which gives you your antibodies. All right, just to recap. I hope you guys remember this. So essentially, when how T cells are made is T cells and B cells are made is that they essentially switch up their own genetic code in order to be able to sense different types of proteins, right? So they do this on random. They're sort of like, imagine an octopus as a chef given a whole bunch of different ingredients, right? Now this chef can make a lot of different things. It can put two eggs, a cup of flour, and milk together and get cake. Or it can put two eggs with oil and get an omelet, right? It can do many sorts of things in order to create many sorts of dishes. Same way, your T cell can reorganize its DNA many times to make sensors for many different proteins. But sometimes these sensors sense something that it should not sense. For example, it could sense glucose as an antigen, which is bad for you because glucose is literally the essentially the lifeblood of your body. All your cells use glucose to make energy to be alive, and they use oxygen to turn that glucose into energy. Or they'll sense a specific cell, for example, say your heart cell, as an antigen, and that would be just catastrophic heart failure if it actually got out. So your thymus's job is essentially it shows these T cells basically antigens that are part of the body. So essentially, like for example, it shows this is what a heart cell looks like. This is what a glucose looks like, and then it tests the T cells and B cells. If they recognize the antigen, then they're killed off. If they don't, they're allowed to pass through. Up to 90% of the T cells and B cells that enter your thymus will die. Okay? That's how strict the thymus is. However, your thymus is an organ that constantly degrades from the moment you're born, along with the thyroid. The thyroid is an organ that's not that related to immune system. It's more related to hormones. But your hormones are indirectly related to your immune system, and hence why people with thyroid issues will often also have immune disorders. I would like to invite Sri uh, Goriati in order to explain to us how thyroid issues happen and the sort of issues that come about with thyroid medication.
Yeah, Adi. I am facing thyroid issue since it is almost like 13 to 14 years. And initially, I didn't notice any problem because I didn't have much idea about like what is thyroid and all. Later on, I used to search and see that what is thyroid and how does it affect. So then I started noticing that initially I had only like I used to sleep too much every time. Now and then I used to sleep. Then later on, I noticed that our immunity also goes down. Like often I started getting this small issues like cold, cough, these kind of things, and laziness, tiredness, and fatigue, and then like I headache and acidity was there for me, but when this thyroid, you know, it will not be constant, like it will not be stable always. Either it will increase sometimes and it will come totally like low. So that time I used to notice that changes in my body, like what else, basically this only, like tiredness and fatigue only I faced.
Thank you, Goriati, for your insight into how the thyroid issues work. So, as you can tell from Goriati's talk, is that the thyroid is extremely important in regulating your immune system and more relatedly regulating your thymus, which trains your immune system, right? Which is why iodinized salt is one of the most important sources of nutrition in the world because iodine helps the thyroid, which helps the thymus. And, if the thymus goes wrong, your entire body goes wrong. Because as soon as even one T cell, rogue T cell, gets out, your body is doomed. Or at least that specific organ that it can identify is doomed, right? Which could lead to the rest of the body being doomed. So I just realized that many of you might not have understood like the concept of T cells, B cells, antigens and stuff. So let's go back to the example that I always give for immune cells, which is a country. So imagine our country, a lovely little country is back, and we have police officers that are checking, you know, people. Now let's say that there's a terrorist. Now terrorists, of course, have some indicators that make them different from your normal cells. We'll call these indicators, the ones that the police will see, as antigens, right? That's what they are. Oh, by the way, antigen is short for antibody generator because these antigens are what your dendritic cell gives to the B cell so that they can make antibodies. Now, back to our topic. So, essentially, the thymus is your police school, but it's a very strict police school where instead of just re-educating the police, they just kill the police, right? So essentially, when your thymus, the thymus school, gives the police officers a test. It's like, is this a terrorist? Is it not a terrorist? Those who say, and it shows like say a heart cell or like a heart citizen, right? And if the police officer says, yeah, that's a terrorist. That's totally a terrorist. I shoot, right? Then the instructor will give him a slap across the face, right? And they'll be recycled to make a new T cell. So this happens constantly, and about 90% of the police who enter the university will get slapped across the face and sent back to create more, right? So now let's just imagine one student is just like really smart. They think the heart cell is a antigen, but they see that someone else got slapped across the face, so they're like, no, it's not. And then so the instructor's like, all right, you pass, let's go, right? So now this police officer who recognized heart citizens as terrorists is now on the loose because they're a bit smart, right? So they go. So you can think of it like that one rogue hero who's like, I know that these heart cells are sinus. I know that these heart cells are terrorists, but I will pretend that they're not terrorists because this education system is corrupt or something like that, right? You can think of some rogue hero. So he'll go out and then he'll start beating up all of the heart citizens in the thing. And that leads to autoimmune disorder, where your immune cell, attacks your own body. However, for allergies, well, your body doesn't only make sensors for your own cells. It also makes sensors for other proteins in general. For example, the proteins present in a peanut. Now, these ones are also killed off because, peanuts are kind of good for you. So your body doesn't really want to go attacking peanuts for no reason. However, once again, some might slip through. That smart police officer who thinks the education system is corrupt, right? They'll go out and they'll start attacking all the peanuts. Now, a question to you guys is why do you think that despite only one rogue T cell or B cell going out into the world, despite only one of them going, your entire immune system will start attacking that specific thing? Why do you guys think the immune system would attack something just because one cell started attacking?
They follow them.
Essentially. So remember, your immune cells, your cells in general, they don't have brains, they don't have eyes, they don't have noses, well, they kind of do have skin, but they do. It's not really the same as a human, right? They can't think. They mostly just work on chemical signals and chemical reactions in general. So they can't really think. They more of just like tell each other what's going on, and they can't really make decisions. They're sort of like, oh, I have to attack this. Okay, I'll attack it because you told me, right? So when your body, so when one of your T cells goes around and says, "Hey yo, this thing is a terrorist," it goes and tells the other police. Now imagine all these police officers are like blindos. They can't see anything. They can't think anything. They're stupid, right? So these police officers will go, "Oh, you're telling me to beat this up? Okay, boom, boom, gone. Your entire heart is gone." Okay, and that's really the reason why you get life-threatening diseases from autoimmune disorders and allergies. Now let's go on to the problems. Now we've learned why they could happen, which is two reasons. Either A could be you've come into a new environment and that's causing the thing, or B, a rogue T cell or B cell has caused this issue. Now, why should we worry about allergies? Well, first of all, allergies severely limit the lifestyle of the affected. Example, a food allergy. Say you're allergic to fish. Not only are you getting rid of fish and hence all of the omega-3, the fat, the important nutrients in the fish that you're probably not allergic to, you're also getting rid of other seafood in the process. For example, if you're scared of fish, you might also not eat shellfish, which is often not included in fish allergies, right? But you'll be scared. I ate this fish, I nearly died. I won't eat anything else seafood. Nah, no way, right? So then you won't eat these other seafood, and you'll think, and you'll severely limit your diet and all of the proteins and nutrients that come from that diet. And physical allergies, for example, dust. People with dust allergies have to be extremely careful and can often only stay in areas that are extremely clean. They have to basically live on air purifiers all the time to ensure they don't die of an anaphylactic shock randomly in the middle of the street, right? And it severely limits because they won't be able to do heavy activity, they won't be able to move around as much, and it really leads to, and they'll be stuck inside their homes all day, which will give them depression, it'll give them social isolation, and it'll diminish their social well-being, their physical well-being, their mental well-being, which leads to all sorts of cascading issues. Another reason is that, remember, allergies can be deadly, specifically allergies that lead to anaphylaxis or anaphylactic shock. So, an anaphylactic shock is essentially a severe inflammation of the lungs during the immune response. Remember, inflammation. When your immune system reacts to anything, the first thing it does is cause inflammation, which is the bringing of fluids into the battlefield. So let's say you've, inhaled some pollen, right? Of course, your body's going to be, if you have a pollen allergy, your body's going to start beating up the pollen like it's the end of the world, right? But, that pollen really isn't doing anything, right? But your body will think there's an infection, I must get fluids in here. Now, the issue with fluids in the lung is that the lung is full of air, and air can't really permeate through fluids. So when your body calls for inflammation, some of that inflammation will leak into the bronchi, that is your breathing tubes, and they will fill them up and cause them to constrict, leading to you can't breathe. If you can't breathe, you die. Simple as that. And that is anaphylactic shock for dummies, right? So essentially, allergies can be deadly because their reaction causes inflammation, specifically a pulmonary edema, which leads to death. That is really one of the reasons, right? So this threat, you can die at any time just because you've eaten something you're allergic to, leads to people being extremely paranoid and again, messing up on their social well-being, right? Because suddenly they'll be like, I don't trust you. What if you put peanuts in my food? What if you're jokingly putting peanuts in my food? And then they'll be like, no, I never put peanuts in food. It's like, I wouldn't dare. And then there's lots of fights, there's a lot of anger. And that leads to, sadness and crying, right? So essentially, this leads to our final thing, which is solutions. Now, allergies are usually a chronic, incurable disease. However, there are some rare exceptions where people who take the right nutrition or take the right medication can outgrow or even just get cured of their allergies. Now, this is often because allergies in general are caused by either two things, and one of those things can be just dealt with by nutrition, the other one can be dealt with medication. For example, there are certain medications that kill off problematic T cells and B cells to help with autoimmune disorders, and that would solve your allergy issue. Or there are certain medications that would give you, for example, Herbalife that gives you enough nutrients that you would understand that you would have enough nutrients to change the mindset of your body to accepting the new environment, and hence that would get rid of another issue that you would be facing. So it is possible in theory to cure it. However, it's very rare. So really, the only thing you can do is prevent it. So in order to prevent allergies, you must remain hyper vigilant about your food choices. However, that doesn't mean you go around accusing people saying you're gonna put peanuts in my stuff. I hate you. No, don't do that. You have to just go around and first of all tell everyone you know about your allergy. You know, if you tell people about your allergy, then you know people will keep it informed, and they may not, and they won't make the issue like the mistake of accidentally putting something that's harmful into your food just because you didn't tell them, right? Next thing is that you should always clean your house. Keep your house clean, and always keep an epinephrine autoinjector and nasal spray at all times. Remember, the real deadliness of allergies comes from its constriction of your lungs. So the best way is for mild reactions, you only need a nasal spray to help alleviate the effects and open up your lungs. However, for severe reactions where your lungs are severely constricting, right? You would need an epinephrine pen, which basically sticks a drug called, which is similar to adrenaline, into your body and basically forces your lungs open and forces them to calm down. It's like, imagine like government officials going to your lungs and slapping them across the face. Hey, stop panicking. Just open up. Everything will be fine. Okay? Then that's essentially what epinephrine does. There's also the advent of CRISPR-Cas9 technology, which essentially changes the DNA of you within your body, and that can lead to getting rid of certain allergy-causing DNAs, which is still relatively new and expensive, but it is existing, right? This is probably something for the future but it is there as a possibility. As if you want to become a volunteer, you could probably get it for free as well, right? And really, these are the main crux of the solutions that you can take to prevent or even cure allergies, which is take lots of minerals, use Herbalife, talk to your doctors and health coaches, and consult your community, make sure they know about your allergy, be hyper vigilant, don't make mistakes, and you'll be A-okay for the rest of your life.
I want you to explain about times.
That's fine. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. Thank you, Adi. That was an amazing talk. So, no, so many valid points and so much of information you have been gathering and you have expressed so well. Thank you so much, Adi. We have learned many things from and using our Herbalife products, we are coming out of those allergies, whatever allergies we are facing. So nice talking to you, nice hearing from you. Thank you so much. So anyone would like to tell your suggestions, please raise your hand and you can tell about Adi.